Hello, good morning, all of you. Welcome to this channel, GS with Taj, your one-stop destination for mastering subjects like history, geography, polity, economics, science, current affairs, and any other subjects for the competitive examination. See, if you are preparing for any government examinations like UPSC, SSC, or CAPF or CISF, then this channel is for you. And I am here to simplify the complex concepts into simpler one and share some example focus tricks and memory techniques so that learning becomes easy and effective for you. So without going to delay, we are start the lecture number 5 here. That is, we are continuing the series, that is the forms of government. In the previous lecture, we are discuss about the parliamentary system and the presidential system, and we are going to discuss in this lecture, that is the lecture number 5. This lecture is about the federal form of government, unitary system, and we are going to discuss here the confederation. We are going to discuss these three concepts. One is federal system form of government, one is unitary system, one is confederation. What do you mean that, and what are their composition, and how they are formed? We are going to discuss this one. See, let's see first the federal form of. Okay, let's imagine I'm going to teach you by an example. See, imagine there are 4 islands. Okay, imagine there are 4 islands here. Island number 1, island number 2, island number 3, island number 4. 1 is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Imagine there are 4 islands reside here. Okay, each island, that means island number 1, 2, 3, 4 has its own local rules. That means they have their own law and order. They have their own law to run the school, run the police station, run the hospitals, run the government. They have their own set of rules. That means one have them some own set of rules. The island number 2 have some own set of rules. Island number 3 have some own set of rules and law and order. And island number 4 have some own set of rules and regulations. But when they set the rules, for what? For defense, for currency, and for trade, all the 4 islands follow the same rule. Okay, that means there are 4 islands named 1, 2, 3, 4. One have some own set of rules, 2 have some own set of rules, so on, so long for the 3 and 4 have some own set of rules, but their defense, currency, and trade rules are same and applicable to the all islands. Okay, so both the islands and the central government have the powers that cannot be taken by another. So in this case, we can see the 1, 2, 3, 4 having own set of rules. That means they have their own power. But in terms of defense, in terms of currency and trade, their rule is for one. That means there is a whole central government existed here to control the defense, control the currency, control the trade. That means defense, currency, and trade rules are for the same for 4 islands. So these type of systems in which power is divided between the central government and the state government, that means here it is the central government in where the defense, currency, trades are regulated, and here the state governments which having the own law and order for their school, for their hospital, for their police station, for their law and order administration. So this is a power divide between the central government and state government. These types of rules are generally called as the federal forms of system. These types of rules is called the federal forms of government, in which the power is separated between the central government and the state government. They have their own set of rules, but having a broad power to control the defense, to control the currency, control the trade. That means if this is the island, this is the 4 islands. Okay, if any other external attack is done, the defense rule is for same. Their currency is for the same. Their trade is same for all the islands. So this is the federal form of government. Now we are switching to the unitary system. See. See, same island example for the unitary system. Okay, let's say this is the island number 1, island number 2, island number 3, island number 4. They have not some own set of rules like you earlier discussed in the federal form of government, in which the island 1, 2, 3, 4 having their own set of rules. But here there are no sort of rules in 1, 2, 3, 4, but they decided to give their powers to the central government. Here it is the central government. Each central government has powers to set law and order, for island number 1, island number 2, island number 3, and island number 4. Okay, here is the central government is the main power who set the law and regulations for each of the islands. So each islands has not some specific powers, but they derive their powers to the central government, in which the central government has set some own law and order regulations so that the country runs smoothly. So this is the form of government in which we call, this is the unitary system of the government, in which the unitary system, the common feature of the unitary system, in which the central council or the central government and the central government make all major rules and regulations. All major rules and regulations. You get my point or not? So all major rules and regulations, and these tiny islands are only implementing that rules and regulations. So in a nutshell, I am going to discuss that in the federal system of government, in the federal form of government, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. They are each islands having some own set of rules, but for the defense, for the trade, for the currency, they have their central government who derive the powers. Okay, so this is the federal form of government, in which the power is separated between the union and the states. Okay, or the central government or the state government, in case of federal form of government. Okay, in case of unitary form of government, let's say this is the island 1, 2, 3, 4. These islands have not some specific rules and regulations for their administration. Okay, they derive their powers to the central government, in which the central government makes some powers for them, each islands, for their law and order. In order they also protect the defense, in order they also protect the trade, they also protect the currency. So this is the unitary system of government, in which the central government has some major powers and law and order, and the states are only implementing the powers and laws and regulations. So this is the unitary form of government. Now we are going to discuss the confederation. See, in the confederation, there is a thin line of difference between the unitary system and confederation. Okay, remember carefully. See, this is the island number 1, island number 2, island number 3, island number 4. These islands 1, 2, 3, 4 having some weak law and order administration. That means island number 1 have weak administration. That means very less law and regulations. Okay, law and regulations, less defense capabilities. Same goes for the island number 2, island number 3, island number 4, and they are very formed, and the relationship between 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 3 and 4, 2 and 4, that means the relationship between the group of islands is formed a loose alliance here. They formed a loose alliance here. They formed a loose alliance here. That means the bond is not strong in between them, or in between them. Okay, each island kept most of its powers, handle common defense. They have been common defense. 1, 2, 3, 4 having common defense, but they are very less defense capabilities, weak administration, less law and order, and in the confederation, the characteristic feature is they formed a loose alliance in between them. If it is a loose alliance, if we can say this is the island, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4. If there is having some loose alliance between them, then they are want to separate. Then if they want to separate, they can go. If they want to separate, they can go. So in the confederation system, there is a loose alliance formed in between the islands or in between the countries, and if they want to separate, they can simply go. They can leave the alliance anytime. They can leave the alliance anytime. Okay, so this is the confederation form of government. In the confederation form of government, in a nutshell, you can say there is a loose administration or there is a loose alliance system, and countries or islands can leave the alliance at any time. Leave the alliance at any time. Okay, this is the confederation. Okay, see. So if you compare the basic formulations of federal, unitary, and confederation, you can see the federal form of government, there is a clear-cut separation between the central government and state government, because here state government have some own rules and regulations and central only implementing it, and central government has the power of defense, law and order, trade and currency. Okay, this is the federal form of government. The unitary system of government in which states have no powers or they have some weak powers. They derive the powers to the central government, so the central government make forms law and order regulations so that the country or island runs smoothly. This is the unitary form of government. In both the case, the islands are not going to separate, not leave the islands. Okay, in both the case, not leave the islands. In both the case, not leave the islands. But here, there is weak administrations between each of the islands, and there is a loose alliance between the group, or there is a loose alliance between the group of islands or countries. Okay, in this system they can leave the alliance. Okay, they can leave the alliance. So this is the fundamental difference. The fundamental difference between the federal, unitary and confederation. Okay, now I can prepare the slide for you, so your doubts will be more clear. Okay. See here, the slide is told about federal, union and confederation and why India is a union state. This is the latter part. We are discussing it later. First, we can say the federal, union and confederation. See definition. The federal system can already discussed you. A system where power is divided between central government and constituent state. I am already discussed that in the federal system, each of the islands or each of the country have some sort of rules. The central government has derived its rules for what? For the defense, for the currency, the trade. Okay. So each having its independent powers. I am already discussing each islands or each country. I am taking the example of island so that your concepts will be clear. Okay. So each of the islands having own independent powers and cannot be unilaterally taken away, and these powers cannot be taken away by the center. Okay, center have the own some sort of powers like defense, currency and trade regulation. These with the powers are exercised. Okay, the federal system of government are generally exercised in India, USA, Germany and Australia. See, if India is following the federal system, then why we called India is a unitary system, or why we called India is not a clear-cut federal system? So we are going to discuss it later. Why India is not a rigid federal system and why India is a quasi-federal. India is a quasi-federal country. Okay. Why I can say that we are discussing later. Then see, in the latter part we can say the unitary system. The unitary system is government, a system where all powers are concentrated in the central government. I have already discussed here. In the unitary system of government, these islands have not some inherent powers. They derive their powers to the central government, and central government make laws and rules and regulations for them. So here the power is concentrated in the central government, and local units only implement what the central decide. And the central government, what they decide, the local governments are only exercise these powers. This type of government is generally exercised in United Kingdom, France, Japan, and China. Okay. Confederation, we can say, a confederation is a loose alliance of sovereign state. In this case, I'm already already explained the example. That means if there is an island, 1, 2, 3, 4, each island is sovereign. Each islands have some own set of rules, but there is a loose alliance in between them, and they can leave the alliance, at any time. Here it is mentioned a loose alliance of sovereign state that remain most powers, and the central authority is weak. Here the central authority is weak, and members can leave the alliance at any time. Members can leave the alliance at any time. Would you get my point or not? See, confederation is generally seen in Switzerland, European Union loosely. There is not a clear-cut definition. So confederation is usually exercised in USA, Switzerland, or European Union loosely. So this is the some point of difference in between them. See, in case of power distribution, I'm already explained it. In case of federal system, there is a clear-cut separation between the power in between the central and the state. Okay, it is mentioned here, share between central and state. In the unitary system, the central government has most of its powers. The states are only to implement the law and order. So this is the central is supreme here. In the confederation, the states are sovereign. Central government has weak power, and they can leave the alliance at any time. Okay, states retain most of its power. Okay, states retain most of its power. Sovereignty, can say if the sovereignty is both the center and state have constitutional power. I can say the center have some powers like defense, currency, and trade, and states having some own set of rules and regulations like law and order, how to run the police, how to run the hospital, etc. They have the both constitutional power. Here we can say the unitary system means the center have the full authority, the full sovereignty, and in confederation, states are sovereign. Okay. The states are sovereign, central government is weak, and they can leave the alliance at any time. This is the definition of the confederation. Okay. In the creation of states cannot be unilaterally altered. If the states are to be altered, then the law and rules and regulations are must be followed by the central and states both. Then there is some bill there. Then after that, states are unilaterally altered. In this case, center can create, merge, or divide states. Okay, here center have the power to decide the boundary of the state, decide the merger of the state, decide the divide of the states. Here I can say there is a loose alliance, so that member can leave the alliance at any time. Okay, example is here India, USA. Unitary system example is United Kingdom and France, and confederation we can already discuss historical European Union, USA, or some can say the Switzerland. So if you discuss the flexibility here, that means in the federal system there is a clear-cut separation, and the unit and the states are not unilaterally altered. So there is a rigid system. Okay, in the unitary system it is highly flexible because central government has all of the powers. In a confederation, it is flexible enough because it is a loose alliance system. There is no bonds between 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a loose alliance system, and they can leave the alliance at any time. So flexible depends upon the agreement. See, then we are discuss why India is a union of state, because in the article number 1 we can say India, that is Bharat, are with the union of the states. Why it is not the federation of the states? Because see, in the historically we are oppressed by the British rulers. Historically India is oppressed by the rule of the Britishers. So India wanted to create a system in which the states are not going to separate. The states are not going to separate, and to prevent the bifurcation, or you can say the prevent the balkanization of the state. That means हम स्टेट को इजी में तोड़ने नहीं देंगे. इंडिया का ये प्रयास था कि हम स्टेट को इजी में तोड़ने नहीं देंगे. सो इंडिया ने फेडरेशन ऑफ द स्टेट को बनाए, बट थोड़ा रिजिडली बनाए. दैट मीन्स व्हाई इंडिया इज यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स डिस्कसिंग हियर. In order to prevent the balkanization of the state, that means to maintain the homogeneity of the of the country, we are not going to bifurcate the states in a easily manner. इंडिया को कोई ऐसे आसानी से तोड़ नहीं सकता, इसलिए हम इंडिया को थोड़ा रिजिड बनाए. That's why India is a union of the states, not the federation of the states. Because in the union of the states, central government has the more power. The central government has the more power, and the states have some less power. See, so India is having a strong center. Unlike the federation, India is having, हमने ऐसे बनाया है कि इंडिया का सेंटर जो है वो एक स्ट्रॉन्ग सेंटर बने. इंडिया तो सेंटर के पास मोस्ट ऑफ द पावर्स रहे. So unlike a federation where states are, so unlike a federation, see, I'm erasing. See, visually. See, unlike unlike federation, where states are fully sovereign in their domain, in the case of federation, the states are fully sovereign in their domain. The states having some own set of rules, regulations, they can do whatever they want. Only the central government holds the defense, currency and trade. So हम ये नहीं चाहते थे कि हम ऐसे बनाए कि स्टेट वो अपने रूल और रेगुलेशन बनाए और सेंट्रल को सिर्फ इसलिए माने कि डिफेंस, ट्रेड और करेंसी के लिए. सो हम ये चाहते थे कि एक स्ट्रॉन्ग सेंटर बनाए. दैट्स वाई we are going to make India into a union. So this is discussed here. Unlike a federation where states are fully sovereign in their domain, in India the union government has more powers. Example, can legislate on the state subject during emergency. So example, this is example, union can legislate on state subject during emergency. This indicates that the in Indian constitution, the union government has more powers than the states. This is the number one which linking that why India is a union of the states. Then states exist by constitution. The point number 2 is states are existed by the constitution. States are created by the constitution by various commissions, or states are already created by the constitution. They cannot secede. In the case of federation, we can see in the case of federation, or we can in the case of confederation, the states having a loose alliance and they can leave at any time. But we made a rigid system so that the states cannot secede from the union. Did you get my point or not? In case of federation, the states are sovereign, so they can be out at any time. In case of confederation, there is a loose alliance and the states are sovereign, so they can leave the alliance at any time. So India is made a system in which the states are not secede from the union. That's why states are exist by the constitution and they cannot secede from the constitution as well as the nation. Okay. In India, we have also some distribution of power. India Constitution have some list. That means India Constitution to exercise the law and order, to exercise the rule of law. India having some set of rules. India having some sort of list. That means in the list, if there is a list, then who can prepare and who can execute these actions? If there is action, it is mostly executed by the union. If it is done by the state, then it is the state. If it is done by both, then it is the concurrent. So these list is the union list, state list and concurrent list. In order to do some executive acts, India Constitution have 3 lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. During emergency, this is the example, during emergency, union can override the state powers. Union can overlap the state powers and can legislate on the emergency provisions of the state. So that here it indicates that India has a strong center. And India has also emergency provisions. Article 352, 356 and 360 allow the center to assume the state power during war, internal disturbance and finance emergency. These the examples are only indicating that India has a strong center. India is not a type of federation. It is not a type of federation so that the states can do whatever they want. So that we made a strong center by distribution of power, by the constitutions, by the emergency provisions, by the, we are already discussed here, the states cannot secede here, and there is a strong center, state exists by the constitution. So made the India is a strong center so that India is formed a strong center, and India is not going to be like a federation, so that the states cannot secede from India. So India is not a, so here the conclusion is drawn here. India is not a state federation because the center is stronger than the state. India is not a state federation. Okay, would you get my point? India is not a state federation. That means India is not a rigid federal system. Okay, because the center is stronger than the state. How the center is stronger than the state? We already discussed the points. So in India, the center is stronger than the state. Yet India is not a unitary state. India is not a unitary state because the states have some constitutionally defined power. Because in the unitary state system, the state have not some powers. The states are derived their powers to the central government and they only implement them. But India not followed the rigid unitary state system, because in India the state have some defined rule and regulation, but in a limited manner, but in a quite limited manner. That's why India is not a rigidly unitary state, because state have some constitutionally defined power or they have some rules and regulations. Hence, it is called a union of states. Do you get my point? Hence, India is a union of states, or you can say India is a quasi-federal country. India is a quasi-federal state. That means we have some federal features, we have some unitary features. So, India is a quasi-federal state. Would you get my point or not? Then, if you discussed, then how federalism is India, then how federalism India is exercised? Because India, I am already discussed that India is a quasi-federal country in which both the unitary features and both the federal features are exercised. So that India is not a rigid federal system, not a rigid unitary system. We have the blend of mix. Okay, we have the blend of mix. That means if this is the federal system, if this is the unitary system, so we have a blend of mix, we have a blend of powers, so that the strong made the center made so strong, and there is having some federal features and having some unitary features, so that India runs smoothly. And the aim is to make a strong center. Why strong center? Because we are oppressed by the British rule. So you know that in order to prevent the organization in future, so that India made a strong center, so that the bifurcation of the states in future is not going to happen. So in India, there are some exist federal features and unitary features, which are going to discuss here. In the latter part, I am going to discuss in detail what you mean that what is the federal features, what is the unitary feature. Just look. In India, the federal features are what? Now we have a written constitution. I am already discussed that what I mean by written constitution, how states maintain that. It clearly defines power of the center and the state, having the division of powers, union, state, and concurrent list. I am already said the division. There is a list exist here, that is the union list, state list, and the concurrent list. We have the bicameralism legislation. That means Rajya Sabha represents state at national level. We have the Lok Sabha, we have the Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha is the house of the people who are going to formulate the law and regulation, and Rajya Sabha is going to discuss what is the rules and regulations. So these are the federal features. That means we have written constitutions, we have the division of powers, we have the bicameral legislature, we have the independent judiciary. See, independent judiciary is a federal feature. See, we have the independent judiciary because the Supreme Court has its own jurisdiction. In the district court having own jurisdiction, the state level high court are having own jurisdiction. So it is the independent judiciary. But in the MCQ it is asked, independent judiciary is a feature of federal system, but integrated judiciary is a feature of unitary system. See, it is the integrated judiciary. Integrated judiciary means this is the Supreme Court, this is the High Court, this is the District Court, this is the Regional Court. This is the integrated system. We have an integrated system of judiciary. This is the unitary features. What? Independent judiciary, that means Supreme Court has its own set of jurisdiction, High Court having its own jurisdiction. This is the independent judiciary. This is the feature of federal feature. In India, both the features are seen. That's why India is a quasi-federal country, because we have both the unitary features, we have both the federal features. I'm literally telling that point so that your concept will be going to clear. We have the dual committee. We have the central government and the state government, because we have already clear-cut definition between the central government and clear-cut definition between the state government, and there is a clear-cut separation between that. It is a feature of what? It is the feature of federal system. Okay, the federal system is exist here, but we have the strong center. That's why it is also unitary systems are also visible here. So India is a quasi-federal country. I'm repeatedly telling that point. India having a rigid constitutions, federal provisions using special amendment powers. So these are the features of the federal feature: written constitution, division of power, independent judiciary, dual polity, rigid constitution. Here we are going to discuss the unitary features. What are the unitary features exist here? We have a strong center. This is the foremost important point of the unitary feature, because we have a strong center. As well as we are giving the state, having some own set of rules and regulations to formulate. That's why India having a strong center. But India is also going to give the state to formulate its own law and regulation. So India is having both the federal feature, both the unitary feature. That's why India is a quasi-federal country. I'm already repeating that one n number of times. Okay, India is having strong center. India is having emergency provision. That means 352, 356, 360. We are going to discuss later. Then we have the parliament power to alter the state boundary, because in case of states, the central government or the parliament has the power to alter the state boundary. We have a single constitution, we have rigid constitutions, we have a single citizenship. That means we are the only Indians. If you are going to take another country's citizenship, our citizenship is renounced. Okay. Then we have the integrated judiciary. That means, and all India services. Integrated judiciary means we have the Supreme Court is linked to High Court, then High Court is linked to District Court, Regional Court. This is the federal and unitary features of the Indian Constitution. Both the features are already mutually coexisted here. That's why India is a quasi-federal country. The MCQ section, if it is asked, India is a which type of country? India is a quasi-federal country, because we both have unitary features and both have the federal feature. That's why we are a quasi-federal country. Our main aim is to prevent the bifurcation of the state. Main aim is to prevent the balkanization of the state. That's why make the country is a quasi-federal one, so that we have the strong center, but to give the flexibility to the state so that they formulate their own law and rule and regulations. Would you get my point or not? If you have any doubt, show me in the comment section. Okay. The next video we are going to discuss what do you mean by democracy, what do you mean by autocracy, what do you mean by monarchy. These systems are going to discuss. Thank you. Thank you for listening.